The girl who escaped, girl in the basement, husband, father, killer, it's one syllable. That's it. Another fictional character Friday. The seated savant. How are you, man?
I'm all right. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm good. I like talking about murder. So, I'm always good when it comes when it comes to that, and psychopaths, kind of my jam. So yeah, the last episode I said we were going to jump into the show called You and talk about Joe Goldberg, played by Penn Badgley. I don't know if you're too familiar with who he is as
Not
an
really,
actor.
no.
I've only seen Penn Badgley in Gossip Girl. And I will say that I did enjoy that show. I'll come out and say it. I will. I ain't scared. I ain't scared. Of course, I will say I didn't just stumble upon that show myself. Okay, like that show was introduced to me, but yeah, I ended up liking that show. So, but that's where I'm familiar with Penn Badgley, who plays Joe Goldberg in the show You. So, yeah, some general background about the show. It's more of like a psychological thriller, right? And it originally aired on Lifetime back in 2018. I found out that Netflix did like co-produce this show, so like it was like an easy transition for Netflix to acquire the show once Lifetime dropped it. Apparently, according to Lifetime, the show didn't align with their business model at the time, which I found interesting because a lot of Lifetime movies I've seen is like pretty much about like a killer. So it's always got like some crazy title about like, oh, the killer in the suitcase or the girl who kidnapped in the fucking basement. Like it's always like some very weird long title about some mishap or utter mayhem. So for the
Maybe
so
it's
for
because the title was too short. They're like, you. One word, three
maybe
letters.
you know
Nope.
what? That's what it is. They're used to long the long title. The girl who escaped, girl in the basement, husband, father, killer, it's one syllable. That's it. Did not align with their business model, which, whatever. I think it all worked out like it should have because it got on Netflix and it did really well. It did really well. It's also based off a book series as well. This lady Caroline, I don't want to butcher her last name, so I'll just say Caroline K. I'm pretty sure it's Caroline K. But yeah, it's based off her book, and she actually said in an interview that she didn't realize that she had even wrote a serial killer in the book. She said that when she
How
was
do you
writing it, she was writing about this guy who's like love struck and a hopeless romantic, but he's also controlling and possessive. And she said she didn't realize it until, one of her friends had read the book after she had written it. And they were like, oh, you wrote about a serial killer. And she's like, no, I didn't. And they're like, yeah, you did. So then she went back and was like, oh, God, like I did write about a serial killer. So
I don't quite understand how you do that, like inadvertently. I don't know how that happens.
I don't know, man. I mean, that's a good question. I have no idea. I can see her just like, but as an author myself, I can see how she was like just in the zone writing about, these characters. And then this guy's who's really possessive. And then he ends up killing one victim. And then he ends up killing another. And then he ends up killing out of necessity because he got to keep a secret safe, and then you just go through this whole world, right? And then you're finished, and then you're like, "Oh, this is so good." And then your friend is like, "Oh, like there's a serial killer here," and you're like, "Oh shit, there is a serial killer here." Maybe just unconsciously, she just did not even realize like that's what she was doing because she was just trying to write a character like Joe Goldberg.
So she's Stephanie Meyer. If Stephanie Meyer was self-aware, is that what
Yeah,
that is? Like,
yeah, exactly. Oh man, exactly. So yeah, It got on Netflix. It took off. The show just took off, and it centers around this bookstore owner named Joe Goldberg. Um, on the surface, Joe Goldberg is kind, right? He's charming. He's thoughtful. He knows a lot about literature. He's a bit of a nerd. He's a bit of a nerd, a hopeless romantic. Yet, behind that mask he wears is a manipulative psychopath with narcissistic traits. And he also has attachment issues and, an undiagnosed obsessive love disorder.
I've never heard that phrase before. Excessive love disorder.
Obsessive
Excessive love
love
disorder.
disorder. And what I mean by that is, he obsesses over his love interests, often escalating into stalking and control.
Our little friend the internet gave me was your address. There it is, with its big naked windows. It's nice, too nice.
But he also experiences like these intense emotional highs and lows, right? Based on, being rejected or, the situation as far as the women being affectionate and stuff like that, or perceived affection, if you will. So,
When you say he experiences highs and lows, would you say he actually has like bipolar tendencies?
there might be some undiagnosed bipolar disorder in there as well. Um, when it comes to Joe Goldberg, yeah, sure. Like his is like connected to his ideal of love and his perceived, when it comes to the women that he's pursuing or whatever. Whereas someone with bipolarism, they have extreme highs and lows, right? And it could just get triggered by anything, like they could just wake up feeling a certain way. And Joe Goldberg, on the other hand, he's it's situational. It depends on who he's interacting with, who he's talking to, stuff like that.
There's a causal link rather than just circumstantial. Just I
Correct.
just woke up depressed today.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of crazy, dude, because his mantra as a whole is sometimes we do things for the people we love, right? Sometimes we do bad things for the people he loved. Like that's what he believes. Yeah, I thought that was interesting, his mantra. But yeah, I like the show a lot. Just because, it gets you into the mind of a serial killer, right? And getting into the heart of what makes people tick, right? That stuff fascinates me. Why people snap, why people do the things they do. Always a student of psychology, so like that kind of stuff interests me, getting into the heart of why people do the things they do. And then he also does this inner monologuing throughout the show, this narration that he gives us into his fragile, complicated psyche, and we get to see how he rationalizes the things that he does. So I also enjoy that aspect.
And I remember, this is why I took up jogging.
So I'd recommend it for sure. But Joe Goldberg, right? His MO. He befriends his victims, right? And then he slowly ingratiates himself into their lives, like very strategically as well. And then, it's crazy because not everyone can like pull something like that off. Like, especially when it comes to like real serial killers, they aren't that patient. They just aren't. Like some are, a lot are, but I don't know if they're that patient to just do what he does. He like slowly like stalks them, either following them or looking at any digital footprints or anything like that. Like he really like takes his time. It's like a project essentially for him. These women, right? And it reminds me of BTK in this sense of he would also kind of use different techniques and stuff to stalk his victims. Like he would have projects, he would call them, and he would go to different places where these people were and kind of just like watch and wait. But he never like approached them, at least not from what I've seen. Like just kind of having conversations and approaching them and talking and conversing, and then later being like, "All right, like I'm gonna kill them." Because so here's the thing about that, like situations like that are like risky because now people have seen your face, they know who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really tough because if shit does go sideways, then yeah, now you would have to kill this person just so your secret's safe. Um,
I do have a question. Does Joe intend to kill them when he meets them?
no.
Because from what I understand, it seems like he just really, really, really wants a girlfriend. From what I understand, and then from what they fall short in some way, and that's when he's like, "Okay, you got it, you die now." Is that about right?
No,
Um,
yeah, like that's his victimology because he goes after uh or he pursues oh not pursues, they'll say this, he targets women that he perceives as broken, right? In need of saving. So what he does is he projects his own fantasies onto them, completely ignoring their real identities, right? So he has this ideal of them in his own head, and that's true, like that's what's true to him. And then if they deviate from his idealized version of them, then he kills them. So yeah, it's all what he projects onto his victims, right? He doesn't go in saying, "Oh, I'm going to kill this person." He goes in by saying like, "Oh, look at you." And then he sees that they're broken or they need saving, and
and a
he
savior complex by the sound of
savior complex, yeah, white knight syndrome, savior complex. Um, and he just wants to go in and swoop in and save them because deep down they remind him of his own mother, who was a victim of abuse by his biological father, and he ended up killing his biological father, ended up shooting him, in order to save himself and his mother, essentially. And it sucks because his mom, in turn, shortly after, ends up leaving him and putting him and abandoning him. So he's in foster care at a very young age. So
parents. Am I
yeah,
right?
seriously, this woman that was supposed to love him unconditionally and be there for him, who he can find comfort and trust in, gone, completely gone. And he's growing up with this idea like, I don't want to be abandoned, I don't want to be hurt, I will do anything and everything in my power to keep that from happening. And unconscious, like, even if I have to kill, like, I'll do it, I'll save them. In my mind, I'm going to save them, I'm going to help them, but if anything deviates from what I perceive as love and affection, then you got to go. But yeah, so he definitely rationalizes his crimes, right, as being protective, being that savior, killing, kidnapping, all out of love, you know, killing out of necessity to keep his secret. And he tends to put his victims into this very secure glass box in his bookstore's basement, which, keep rare books from deteriorating, essentially. It's supposed to keep them safe and things like that. But to him, it doubles as a prison for his victims, which is just wow. But I think he uses it because he was put into that glass box as a kid by his adoptive father whenever he was like bad or did something bad or whatever the adoptive father perceived as bad. He would put Joe Goldberg into this
so
box.
so he had an abusive father. His
Yeah,
mother abandoned him, and his adoptive father was also abusive.
correct. He grew up in a very tumultuous environment for sure, which definitely shaped him into a serial killer. And it looks like he may have been predisposed to aggressive, violent behavior as well on a nature level, just based on his abusive father, his abusive biological father. So, yeah, Joe Goldberg was probably fucking doomed from the start. Doomed from the start, I would say. Um,
Yeah, it seems like from every angle he's getting like the worst possible influences.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess in retrospect, his environment and his genetics definitely shaped him into a very violent person, especially when he doesn't get what he wants. But the show does a really good job at portraying these things as far as giving you a firsthand, giving you a firsthand look at, how a serial killer thinks, you know? So that's what I like about it. It's not all about the killing. Like some people like they like it like, oh, it's the killing, like look at what he's doing, blah blah blah. But I like the psychology behind it. I like, you know, being able to hear his rationale, right? Being able to adapt and adjust to different situations.
Want and be an actual.
I got a nanny cam in my apartment when my crazy ex broke in.
He would be categorized as an organized serial killer, right? He was able to weaponize, his charm. In fact, some people have compared him to Ted Bundy, right? Because Ted Bundy was very charming. He was able to manipulate women and disarm them into thinking that he was like helpless or very nice and vulnerable up until the time he was ready to strike. And that same thing for Joe Goldberg. Same thing, weaponizing his charm. And he pathological liar. He lied if he had to, if he needed to. He had a very calm demeanor when it came to situational based things. He was able to do things with a controlled mood, and he was highly intelligent. So, which made him very difficult to capture, to apprehend. So the show did a really good job at portraying a organized serial killer. Obviously, some things are just like really far fetched, and because again, it's a TV show.
Drama. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a thriller, it's a drama, it's a TV show, but they did do a really good job at painting him as a very cunning and clever serial killer who is obsessed with love, essentially, and wanting to be loved, wanting to be accepted and not rejected. So
How many victims did he have by the end that we know of? Like,
I think I like saw something where it was like it might have been in the 20s. I'm gonna look now. There were 4 seasons and let's see, 14. Okay, so I was wrong. 14. No, Google, give me some good answers. Let me see. So Joe Goldberg killed a total of 22 people. 22 people, but he was responsible for the deaths of 10 people, making the count 32, making it 32. So,
so he actively killed 22 and then orchestrated the deaths of 10 people.
yeah, throughout 4 seasons, it was wild. But hey, you got a firsthand look though at how he did these things, and they were pretty smart. I would have to say he was very smart how he did a lot of these things. But yeah, quite the body count. But I thought the show was okay. I thought the show was good in its portrayal of a serial killer. Now, there are people who have stalked, harassed, killed romantic partners, or people they have desired to be with. And I'm sure they drew from these experiences when they were coming up with the show or in production and stuff like that. So yeah, but a lot of those cases sort of center around manipulation and rejection, like those typical things with stalkers and people who harass, people who end up killing others. And then there are also some cases where, the victims are held hostage for long periods of time. There's a serial killer. They called him the Butcher of Kansas City, Robert Berdella, and he would like kidnap, torture, and kill men. He would keep them, in his home, and he would do these things this particular person, which is like crazy. But I feel like he would, kidnap them, torture them, rape them, whatever, and then hold them hostage for up to 6 weeks. And then when he was done with them, he would off them essentially. But yeah, a lot of sick fucking people. A lot of sick people. There's also another guy that, he was like obsessed and was like he was in college and pretty sure he was like a law student as well. And he was obsessed with another student there. And he was stalking her and ended up getting into her place, strangling her, killing her, obviously, and then he like dumped her body in the trash can near his place, which is like fucking wild. And then the news reporters come and interview him. And then he finds out during the interview that the police found the body. And he's like, you can see in the interview that he's like kind of freaking out about it.
I mean, the door was locked when everyone got here. I mean, we just don't know where she is.
What about in the parking lot area? I know they've been doing a lot of. I think that's where they have recovered the body or whatever they recovered from there.
Body?
Had you heard? Had you seen anything there? Had you seen anything there? I mean, we don't know if this is the same person. You know what I mean? Like they took out a body there earlier. We don't know if it's the same person or not. So that's how we're trying to ask people if they know who lived there.
I mean, he can't have gotten away with that for very long.
Oh
Like,
no.
I was gonna like,
No. But it was like fucking it was nuts. It was nuts. He like just was like so confident when he's like, "Oh yeah, like she's missing and I don't know where she is and it like sucks because blah blah blah." Just trying to play the victim, trying to manipulate. He was like trying to get off on this whole
and then
thing.
they're like, "Oh, we found the body," and he's
Yeah, and then he's fucking panicking.
like,
And then he's panicking now. So like it's nuts. So yeah, it's not out of realm of possibility that, a stalker could kidnap someone, hold them captive, and then kill them. Or just go straight to, you know, sexual assault and then, murdering them, which is like, yeah, it's like so crazy. But yeah, there's a lot of cases like that. Like I said before, not a lot of people are like Joe Goldberg in a sense where, they're cozying up to people and playing this white knight and, you know, doing and saying all the right things. And then, when the person doesn't reciprocate or they tend to deviate from this projected fantasy, you were like, oh, fuck them. They're dead to me now. Now it's the end of the road. It's the end of the
I,
road. Like
I wanted to save you, but you didn't want to be saved.
yeah. But this is how you treat me. Okay, bitch. You're done. Oh man, you are done. But yeah, that's the show you. So yeah, man. If I recommend anything, it's the first season. Like definitely watch if you get to it or when you get to it. Like just watch the first season because it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Sounds good.
And that's why I like Joe Goldberg.
Kind of seems like a chilling dude. This guy's
Yeah.
got a great. Just this picture alone, he's got a great that stare almost.
Yeah, it's like very eerie, very menacing, very sinister. Like and it's like it's so crazy too because in the show he like it's a switch, right? He can like just be he could be very loving and calm and caring and warm and you can see these things and then as soon as he switches it, like his eyes just go black. It's crazy. Like Ken Badgley does a really great fucking job in this show. Like when he stares at you, when he looks at you, like this
Yes.
motherfucker's about to cause some mayhem. There will be murder, mayhem, and malice intent when Joe Goldberg looks at you when you fuck him over. So yeah. All right, guys. Well, we thank you all for tuning in. We do ask that you dismember that like button very slowly. Comment, let us know what you guys think about Joe Goldberg. If is there anyone that reminds you guys of him or similar cases? What do you think about the show? Would we get right? Would we get wrong? Anything. Just comment. Share this video out there. Crack that bell with a hammer or a sledgehammer or anything you can find as a blunt object for notifications when we load a video. And yeah, you guys take care.
Bye, everybody.